Hello, my name is Divya. In this video, we talk about Chapter 13, Business Communication Across Cultures. As globalization expands, managers, employees, and customers are increasingly engaging across cultures, adding complexity to business operation. Companies now employ and serve diverse global staff and clients, requiring managers to navigate cultural differences actively, not merely acknowledging them. Effective communication, negotiation, and collaboration with international partners have become essential skills, moving beyond traditional universal management approaches. This chapter explores the core aspect of intercultural and intracultural communication, then examines its application in business. After studying this chapter, we need be able to outline key theories related to intercultural communication, identify and describe the components that influence the communication process, and last, understand the role of communication in business practices. Concept 13.1 Communicating in and between cultures. Intercultural communication encompasses all forms of interaction within and between cultures, focusing on the exchange of ideas and value rather than simply comparing cultures. A model of communication. In their interaction, both parties unknowingly rely on a shared framework, which generally includes knowledge about the subject under discussion, experience in professional or individual terms, norms, example the norms of the society in which they live, and values, and assumption and prejudice with regard to each other. Communication theories. The Palo Alto Group's communication model shifts focus from message content to the relational dynamic and continuous interaction between participants, emphasizing that communication is shaped by an unbreakable network of relations woven by cultural context. This approach suggests that message interpretation is not absolute but influenced by this relational and cultural context, making interpretation crucial, especially in intercultural exchange. Moreover, while most communication theories are Western-based, incorporating non-Western perspective is essential but challenging due to potential inconsistencies. Effective intercultural communication theory, therefore, must bridge Western and non-Western approaches to capture the nuance across diverse cultural settings. The role of context in communication. The concept of context in communication encompasses both the physical environment and cultural factors that help define communication. Culture is integral, influencing worldview, values, and norms which shape how messages are interpreted. Hall and Hall 1990 difference between high-context culture, where meaning is largely derived from situational context and relationship, and low-context culture, where messages are explicit and self-contained. Hall also introduced proxemics, the study of personal space in communication which varies across culture. As shown in Figure 13.1, Arabs prefer smaller personal space while North Europeans prefer larger one. Effective communication incorporating both verbal and non-verbal form is key in intercultural business interaction, yet preference for communication style may vary across cultures. Forms of communication in business practice. Managers have various channels for business communication, including oral, written, and electronic modes. Email is now one of the most common written forms used both internally and externally, while other managers prefer face-to-face or video calls, which allow for non-verbal communication. Cultural difference can influence the voice of communication mode, as certain cultures may value building relationship over efficiency and prefer face-to-face meeting before discussing business details. Computer-mediated communication or CMC like email over speed and efficiency but can lead to misunderstanding in intercultural setting. Expectation of formality or informality in emails vary across cultures, and the lack of nonverbal cues can cause misinterpretation. CMC often blurs the line between written and spoken communication, with some treating email as formal memos and others as conversational threads. Language during business encounters. When business representatives from different language backgrounds communicate, they can use a few approaches if a common language is lacking. The first approach is using native language with an interpreter. Both parties may use their native language requiring an interpreter. This allows each party to speak comfortably but might hinder relationship building and nonverbal communication, as the interpreter controls the interaction without full accountability for its outcome. Another approach is one party adopting the other's language. A manager fluent in the counterpart's language may foster deeper cultural understanding and communication accuracy. However, this is impractical for those dealing with multiple language or culture. The last approach is using English as a neutral language. English often serves as a lingua franca in international business. Simplified international English is widely understood using common words and limited idiomatic expression. Too pronunciation and vocabulary breadth may still cause confusion. English as a neutral language aims for cultural neutrality, but this can reduce nuance and expressiveness, making complex ideas harder to convey. Face-to-face management relation. When business meetings involve representatives from different cultures, communication challenges arise due to differing social norms and expectations. Cultural norms shape the approach to formality in initial meetings. For example, an American may seek an open and informal interaction, while a German counterpart might prefer a more reserved approach, focusing on establishing credentials rather than friendliness. Similarly, addressing someone by the first name might be acceptable in Western setting, but could cause embarrassment in Japanese context where formality is valued. As relationships develop, a flexible mode of communication might emerge, influenced by the context. Effective communication requires active listening, considering both what is said and what is left unsaid. Since different cultures have unique priorities, interpreting the intended meaning often requires clarifying praise, rephrasing statements, and recognizing underlying cultural context. This involves processing the message based on both parties' personal and cultural perspective. Visual expression during interaction. Visual expression conveys significant signals in social and business interaction, often influencing human relation and perception dominance. These expressions vary by context, and the emotion conveyed, like unease or aggression, depend on the situation. For instance, a persistent gaze may be interpreted differently, sometimes causing discomfort or aggression. Cultural differences shape how expressions like eye contact and smile are understood. For example, prolonged eye contact may be seen as assertive in some cultures but avoided in others. Smiling is often associated with happiness in the West, but in Russian culture, it can carry a negative connotation when directed at strangers, implying sarcasm or criticism. Interaction through interpreters. While English is often used in international business settings, many executives still rely on interpreters, especially in regions where local workforce lacks strong English skills. However, involving a third party like an interpreter can complicate interaction with potential clients or agents. Interpreter may be unfamiliar with the company culture or expertise, and they can unintentionally become the focal point of the conversation, potentially hindering direct rapport between parties. Even with accurate translation, miscommunication may occur due to cultural nuance and implied meanings in language. Effective management of these encounters requires awareness of cultural difference and communication dynamic to ensure successful exchange. Case study. The topic is Straight Talking, English-Speaking Cultures Bring Communication Problem by Justin Lau. When a Hong Kong analyst asked for an employee by her English name, the operator was confused until he used her Chinese name, a sign of internal adjustment as Lenovo adapts to Western business practices. Since Lenovo acquisition of IBM's PC division, employees have started adopting English names to ease communication with US colleagues, which, though slightly confusing, highlight the company's cultural shift. Lenovo appointed former Dell executive Bill Amelio as CEO, relocated its headquarters to North Carolina, and designated English as its official language, marking its shift from a traditional state-owned enterprise to a competitive global entity. This is the short version of the case. If you want to know about the full case, you can read it in our ebook. I have 2 points for this case. The first is how adoption of English helped establish a straight talking culture. Using English as Lenovo corporate language aligned with the company's shift towards a more direct and transparent communication style. In Western business culture, English is often associated with low-context communication where messages are explicit and directness is valued. This straightforward approach reduces ambiguity and encourages open expression of ideas, fostering clarity in communication, which is essential for a company aiming for a global reach. The second point is additional step to establish this new culture. To reinforce a straight-talking culture, Lenovo could invest in intercultural training, ensuring employees understand Western direct communication norms alongside the cultural expectation for Eastern style, which might value indirectness or hierarchical respect. Additionally, Lenovo could encourage inclusive meetings where both Chinese and Western communication practices are appreciated, allowing for cultural fluidity while maintaining clarity. Conclusion. While language is a primary factor in communication, other elements like context, physical space, or proxemic and facial expression also play important roles. Even when interlocutors use a shared language, such as English, which is increasingly common among non-native speakers in business, cultural background can still lead to misunderstanding. Advances in computer and mobile-mediated communication, or CMC, are particularly transforming communication methods. That's all from Chapter 13, Business Communication Across Cultures. Thank you. See you in another video.